I began the story to sort of deal with my own grief. My grandmother and uncle had passed right before I entered my MFA program to start writing the bulk of this. I was interested in the ways in which grief sort of manifests and is experienced, especially in a family, especially in, young people. But I didn't just want this book to be about grief or trauma. I really wanted to capture sort of the joy or the wonder of personal discovery, especially this kind of coming of age narrative. And also growing up in a similar community that I write about. It's kind of working class, poor, black and brown community in Brooklyn. It's very much steeped in history, the preoccupation, especially in Western society, especially in American society, of regarding people, especially disenfranchised people, as ahistorical, existing in this country or in this Western world. It's African American or any variation of that diaspora. There's a constant kind of feeling of wearing your history on your skin, right? Of being seen through a lens of slavery, of Jim Crow, of the Atlantic slave trade. These important historical and economic markers that inform everything about our nations. Yet people will ask you to forget about these things, forget about slavery, forget about the lack of rights that extend even till this day, even though they get to project sort of all these things onto you. And really reading about sort of this concept of social death by Orlando Patterson. And essentially, social death, this denial of citizenship or folk not being fully accepted by a society. He wrote this specifically about American slavery. This idea of social death continues through Jim Crow, through poverty, through this sort of carceral state that one could argue is a mere extension or preservation of slavery. The city changes so much. It's sort of hard to kind of fathom. Um, that's why I kind of, the feeling of being in the city is, um, I try to be in the body as much as I can with a lot of these characters. So a lot of the changes or a lot of just moving through the city, I hope is felt on a kind of bodily level or just being in these spaces, being um, in the jarring kind of fragmented um, temporal kind of state of being a New Yorker, I guess. Um, but some of the writing or some of the experiences of being in the city feel disjointed or feel staggered. Um, I think the best, or at least my favorite part of writing this book is showing these artistic or cultural movements to be able to write about where hip hop is changing in the 80s, in the late 80s, and you're having this more reality based rap. It sort of mirrors sort of the lifestyle of, you know, family members I had who were alive at the time. I'd want French readers to think about the communities and neighborhoods that they're from, the communities they participate in, and their relationship to them. I'd also hope that people consider the ghosts or the hauntings in their own lives, and also thinking about the ways they can help us forward. This book challenges the idea that these hauntings or being haunted by the past is necessarily a negative thing. Um, so I'd hope folk would consider um, a healthy examination of the past and their own history, um, and I hope it fuels new ways forward, alternate ways forward. Um, that's what I hope.